This is Cast of Wonders, the young adult fiction podcast featuring stories of the fantastic. Welcome. Episode 640. I'm Catherine Inskip, your editor and host. Today, Cast of Wonders is bringing you another episode in our Summer Spotlight series of award-nominated authors. We'll mostly be focusing on the nominees for the Lodestar and Astounding Awards. The Astounding Award recognises new authors in their first 2 years of professional publishing. This year's nominees include the wonderful Angela Liu, who you might recall from episode 572, The Time Traveller's Cookbook. Today's story by Angela is KAOSU, the Last Moving Country in the World, which was first published in Dark Matter magazine in July 2023. Angela Liu is a Chinese-American writer/poet who writes about intergenerational trauma and weird things. She is a 2-time Nebula Award finalist and Astounding Award nominee. Her work has also been nominated for the Hugo, Ignite and Riesling Awards. She used to research mixed reality storytelling at Keio University in Japan. Her stories and poems are published in Clarkesworld, Strange Horizons, Uncanny Magazine, Lightspeed, Interzone, Digital and Logics, among others. Check out more of her work at liu-angela.com or find her on Twitter/Instagram at liu_Angela and on Blue Sky at angelaliu.bsky.social. This story is narrated by Sophie Barker. Sophie Barker studied to become a doctor but was rescued by translation before there was too much damage done. She has worked with authors such as Lucy Taylor, Priya Sharma and Kelly Robson in bringing their work to Spanish readers. She's very lucky to be surrounded by a great community of literary friends that keep reminding her that she is loved. She lives in Madrid, but her Scottish blood keeps calling her to Edinburgh. You can find her fangirling about one female writer or another on social media at s_a_Barker. One content warning for today's episode for violence and eye trauma. And now, we've a tale to tell.
KAOSU, the last moving country in the world. I arrive at KAOSU's nest-shaped visitor center 2 hours early for boarding procedures. The reviews and Voyage Advisor warned of the rabid fans and shameless paparazzi, but I'm still not prepared for all the selfie drones skittering around the check-in screens like frenzied moths. Today, the crowds swell with people in pest masks, school makeup, and screaming fans with heart signs that read, "Marry me in the radioactive fields." Pity Patty, a top 50 influencer, the queen of dark tourism and rumored stem cell junkie, will be joining the train this week. Just my luck. I write for Faye's Compendium of Good Travels. Founded during the post-plague travel boom, we've got a readership of over 3 million, the most trusted guide in solo travel. KAOSU's the holy grail of travel writing these days, the last perpetually moving country on the planet, and I'm only here because of a strategically taken office video my boss never wants to see the light of day. At immigration kiosk number 3, a horse-masked clerk takes my photo and then hands me my new ID card. Unlike the shiny gold ones that KAOSU's permanent residents have, these are ugly, adorned with barcode-streaked printouts of our faces. "Do not stand in the photo area." A lion-masked security guard ushers me along. For those eager to confirm whether or not KAOSU is inhabited by aliens, you're out of luck. KAOSU workers are never allowed to show their faces. My phone rings with a series of too late, too early messages from my over-worried mother. "Did you pack your passport? Bring a couple of oranges, that'll settle your stomach. Don't forget to pack a few masks just in case. How are your neighbors? Did you bring the pepper spray? Just in case?" I respond with an all-purpose thumbs-up emoji and a photo of the gate before the security guard ominously pantomimes a slashing motion over his throat with a gloved hand. "Cut it out. No photos allowed." The boarding car smells like a rich lady's bath. Orange peel, jasmine tea, hints of lavender. An elephant-masked attendant hands me a small welcome bag. Inside there's a purple jumpsuit uniform, to make it clear who is a visitor, non-slip slippers, a one-time complimentary ticket to the Dream Pods, and a headset so we can get the country's announcements and radio channels. The on-train network broadcasts over 100 music, comedy, educational, children's and spoken theatre channels, but no outside news. For nearly 200 years, KAOSU has never received a single outside broadcast. Greetings, girls and boys! Pity Patty here on the train that never sleeps. That's right, I'm here again in the birthplace of the Dream Pod and the world's tallest cremation light show, KAOSU. For the newbies, here's a quick rundown. KAOSU's got 20 miles of space-grade metal trains, Mont-Select quality dining, and the hottest waiters without faces. It takes a whopping 4 days to go from the visitor center to the terminal station, with only one stop in between, where no one can get off. The folks who built this place literally woke up in an abandoned town and thought the end of the world was raging on outside. So what they do? Walled off the place and built a train that could keep moving even through an apocalypse. For all of you sexy Instagram influencers looking for that million-like shot, KAOSU's main draw is its cliff auroras. This isn't the kiddie fireworks show they have at the new Disney Antarctica. Visible only from the country's highest mountain at 6,500 meters above sea level, it is sometimes described as looking into God's eyes. So what's the real draw of KAOSU? The cliff auroras? The sleekest Dream Pods on the market? The hallucinogenic dining? No. KAOSU's on the top of every true dark tourist list for one reason and one reason only. But first, a word from our sponsors. At sundown, the dining car is a sea of purple jumpsuits, red-faced students swirling champagne flutes, couples slicing into marble meats, old men passing gift bags to women young enough to be their daughters. I take a seat near the massive window and order a pot of green tea that arrives on a crystal tray that looks more expensive than my entire office back at Face Compendium. An old woman in a grumpy cat sweater takes a seat across from me. Mind if I join you? She asks, with a tea-stained smile. I'd love some non-virtual company. Not sure if I'd be much better, I smile back. I've seen the old woman a few times in the hall during the morning ID checks. She's staying in the cabin next to mine. I've been lullabied to sleep each night by the sounds of her and her husband fighting, her working accusations of infidelity, him with the old and tired defense. But she's just a virtual friend. Did you come alone? She asks, filling my cup, steam rising to her face. She waves at one of the masked waiters to bring another teacup. No, my partner just basically lives in the library, I lie. Oh, mine too. So what brings you to KAOSU? My boss owed me, I said vaguely. Never tell anyone you're a writer. They'll always think you're going to turn them into your next story. That's nice. My husband owes me. It cost almost all my longevity credits for a ticket, but we're here for his research. I was the one who taught him about the last of the moving countries. Behind the old woman, in a massive water tank, a miniature whale swims through the forest of bioluminescent kelp. The cacophony of the hall moves around us like schools of silver fish. A Fosk-masked waiter brings her a silver cup and then steps back into the row of other waiters that line the walls like statues. As the old woman helps herself to my teapot without asking, a girl in a pest mask and black lace dress comes over to our table with a boar-head-shaped basket stacked with matching masks. Hi, we're having a Cliff Aurora viewing party in card number 72 tomorrow, sponsored by the one and only Pity Patty, the girl says, her monotone voice muffled behind the plastic mask. There's gonna be a cursed doll photo booth with legit dolls from Ping Island, radioactive green hot dogs, and prison-themed hors d'oeuvres. Test your dark tourist knowledge in our quiz show for prizes. Come in your mask and you'll get your first drink for free. I take them as she's offering, but the old woman waves her hand as if shooing away a stray cat. My husband likes to keep up with that kind of stuff. Top 50 and whatnot, the old woman says after the girl migrates to the next table, repeating her spiel. What do you even do with all that information once you have it? Write micro-revenue generating articles about it? Sell information packs to paparazzi drones? I've done it all for the longevity credits, for the slight bump up pharmaceutical waiting lists, for the slim possibility my mother will live a few weeks or months longer. The old woman takes a sip of their tea. KAOSU used to be an oasis, but now it's just another checkpoint for the influencers. Everyone taking the same photos, eating the same things, lining up for the same experiences, clamoring for a glance at the cliff auroras like kids seeing the sun for the first time. What about you? I try to smile, but she's starting to annoy me. What would you recommend doing here instead? I'd spend the entire time at the temple, she answers with a hesitation. The temple. The second and only stop between the visitor center and the terminal station, where only residents are allowed off the train. Everyone knows the temple like everyone knows the lost lighthouse of Alexandria, as a myth. I know it as the highest paying job on the freelancers' hot gig list. A GPS-confirmed video of the inside can set a person up for at least a decade in streaming revenue, with enough longevity credits to treat any disaster-level ailment from cancer to dementia. I'd spend enough time calling the hospitals for my mother to know the marker for treatment nowadays. Would you like to see it? The old woman asks, picking the teapot up from the tray. The dining hall lights dim into black light, a bloom of glowing jellyfish dropping into the water tank like silent snowfall at night. You could, she says. We could. There's a knock on my door a few minutes after midnight. I roll over on the bed, still groggy, and wipe the drool from my mouth on the back of my hand. A gold car slides in from the bottom of the door along with a note. 11:30 a.m. Boarding card. Smile emoji. Someone is singing drunkenly in the hall. I put on my headset, turn on the noise cancellation, and tune into a channel for relaxing sounds. As the pattern of rain fills my ears, I pull the blanket back over my head, trying to ignore the gold card on the floor. The old lady's crazier than I thought. Everyone's seen the videos of burnt bodies on the feeds. The censors never take them down, knowing they bring in the eye clicks. Some say it's what causes the cliff auroras in KAOSU. Who knows? But rules are rules. Guests are not allowed off the train until the terminal station. No exceptions. My phone vibrates. I pat the table by the bed until I find it and then squint at the message on the screen. Doctor says another 6-month waitlist for the meds. What time is it at home? Why is Mum up? Boss promised longevity credits after this job. You'll be okay, I message back, with another thumbs up and sleeping zzz emojis, and then turn off my phone. 6 months isn't a long time if you really think about it. It's barely enough time to properly bond with a virtual spouse. But it's also more than enough time for a living body to be reduced to ash. How confident was I that my mother would make it without the longevity credits? Why had I lied? Even with the meds, I'd just be delaying the inevitable. I pull open the curtain and watch the train pummel across the eerie purple landscape. Gnarled trees half sunk in glossy black pools. The moon like an eye in the sky. In the distance, barely visible, the 500-foot basalt wall that surrounded the country stands like a giant curled serpent. Had the people who founded KAOSU really just woken up here? How far do you need to run before responsibility stops chasing you? Would you build a whole moving country so you could keep running? What the hell am I talking about? I close the curtain and sink back into the bed, turning up the volume of the headset until the rain drowns my thoughts. The next morning I change out of my jumpsuit and into a white pleated skirt and denim shirt I'd packed into my overnight bag for the flight back home. I stick a paper-thin body cam to a button on my skirt and snap on the cheap pest mask I got from the Pity Patty fan. The beak is too sharp and the sides aren't properly sanded down, but it's all I have. In my pocket, I tuck in the gold card from the floor, and after hearing my mother's phantom scolding, I stuff the pepper spray in my other pocket, just in case I need to get away from onboard KAOSU security. I get to the boarding car at 11:15 a.m., but the old woman's nowhere to be seen. My face itches from the mask. At 11:25, a chime echoes through the car. "We will soon be arriving at Temple Station. Please report to the boarding car with your resident ID." 3 strangers gather near the door, each in a different mask. A red-cheeked fox, a long-chinned goblin, and a black crow with a toucan-sized beak. The 4 of us look like we're on our way to a Halloween chase at one of the planet's last night circuses. A pair of teenage girls wait several feet away in the purple jumpsuits, clutching their cameras, hoping to catch a glimpse of the station platform. The old woman is still nowhere to be seen. The train pulls up to a stop, and the doors slide open, letting in the smell of the rain from outside. The fox-masked man strides towards the door, and I follow close behind like a fish tagging along behind a shark, seeking cover. The teenage girls chuckle gleefully nearby, snapping their camera shutters. My hands are so wet I could drown everyone here in my sweat, the video of the burning buddies playing behind my eyelids with each blink. Outside it's cold and wet, the ground soaked from rain. I follow the other 3 people to a gate where a woman in an owl mask and head-to-toe hazmat suit-like vinyl dress is waiting. "Is that your mask?" she asks when it's my turn. "No, I'm helping with one of the higher tier influencers viewing parties. I can barely breathe, so I'm genuinely surprised coherent words are coming out instead of vomit. The party coordinator requests I wear this group mask for the event for the sake of their video footage." The woman watches me through her large eye holes. I can see the marble white skin underneath, the capillaries sparing through the edges of her eyes. She looks like she hasn't seen sunlight or sleep in days. "Very well. ID, please," she says finally, holding out a white box. I pull out the gold card from my pocket. The white box lights up green as I press the card into it. "Welcome home," the woman says with the enthusiasm of a houseplant. She motions for the next person to step up. I follow the chained-off path towards a windowless blue tower. There is very little else besides scorched grey fields in every direction and frost-tipped mountains in the far distance. None of the 3 KAOSU residents are speaking. White breaths puff out of the sides of everyone's mask like steaming clouds, all of us like ghosts. At the entrance to the tower, a man in a roach face mask smiles with his eyes. Hi, welcome home, friends." His nasal voice tears through the silence like a swarm of bees. "I hope you've all had a productive shift. Alan will see you in the job hall if you're requesting a name change. As always, the dream pods are open for use. Mina has made several fun adjustments if you haven't tried them out recently." Behind him there are 6 doors, each opening into a different colored hall. The crow-masked woman and the goblin-faced man disappeared down the blue corridor. Fox Mask makes no move. I'm overwhelmed by the sense that I've wandered into a high-level video game dungeon without a weapon or a map. Decisions, Roach Mask murmurs gleefully, wringing his hands. "Might I suggest a trip to the kitchens?" He motions towards the blood-red door. "The current ice cream flavor is caramel fingers, as imagined by our current temple chef. They're almost as good as real." He smacks his lips under the mask. I enter the yellow door, not wanting to be the last one left with Roach Mask. There's an herby scent in the air. The hall is daffodil yellow, neon lights beaming down yellow walls, the yellow floor and ceiling spotless with a mirror glass. I quickly lose track of how long I've walked. It's hard to tell when nothing seems to change. I cough to remind myself I have a voice, that I am in fact still alive. But after a while I feel like I'm floating across a yellow void, my legs no longer my own. For a moment I picture my mother in the lights, the jaundiced color of her sclera, the liver spots on her hands now snaked with blue veins, the bumps of her vertebrae visible through her thin sweater. How close can a body step toward the gates of death without becoming a corpse? She points at me with an accusing finger. Somewhere, distantly, I register the sound of laughter, glasses clinking, the crunch of a saw cutting through something thick. My hands ball into fists. I spin around to make sure Roach Mask isn't tailing me with a chainsaw. When I turn back, I catch sight of someone running ahead through a door. An exit. I chase after the footsteps pushing through the door. The air immediately chills. There are cathedral-high ceilings, round tables, and metal chairs spaced out like a cafe. There are no people, only seated statues on the chairs. Did I imagine that person? My head still feels like cotton, like I'm floating. I gently slap my cheeks to remind myself I've still got a job to do. Just a quick video, and then back to the... "Are you okay?" a voice asks. I spin around. Fox Mask waves at me. I feel sick. "You're not supposed to be here, right?" he says cheerfully, jogging up to meet me. "I saw you in the aquarium dining hall yesterday, with some wrinkled old bat. You're one of the purple jumpsuits." "What are you talking about?" I croak, trying unsuccessfully to mask my voice. The man suddenly pulls off his mask, and I turn away, my face flushing as if I'm seeing him naked. "I'm not going to report you," he smiles apologetically. "I'm not supposed to be here either." The man was a part of a sleep tech research team that was studying the train's dream pods. The girl he had a crush on was a huge pity-patty and dark tourism fan, so he thought he'd impress her with footage from inside the temple. "You sound like an idiot," I say, and I mean it. No amount of adoration is worth being burned. If you just want a girlfriend, there are tons of amazing options on Virtual Spouse. His frown tells me I've offended him, so I stop talking. We walk the perimeter of the room, light filtering down from the skylight above. The statues all lack faces. There's only the impression of one, like a vague handprint left fading in the mud. "What is this place?" I ask. "Where they keep the bodies of trespassers before they burn them," the man replies, switching on a live feed camera embedded in a button on his silk vest. "Who you're broadcasting to?" "There's no connection, so I'm just taking some video I can edit later. I'm gonna beat Pity Patty's world record of 10 billion views for a single video. What about you?" He suddenly turns around to study me. "What are you doing here anyway? Are you a streamer too?" "Yeah, something like that," I say, reaching up to make sure my mask is still on. He walks up to the statues, taking more close-up videos. When he directs the camera at me, I turn my back to him. "No footage of me, please," I say. "You one of those who think cameras can steal your soul?" "No," I say, but now I'm considering it. "Sorry, I thought it'd be cool to do an interview in here. We'd be like that dude and his water boy who first broke into King Tut's mummy digs. But you're right, maybe they can track us down later using the video's metadata." He relents, then turns off his camera. There's a confession booth on the opposite end of the room. I peer in through the wooden arch windows. It's bigger on the inside. 8 black, glossy-shelled pods are lined up like giant eggs inside a red hall. "Is this your first time?" the man asks. "First time?" "To try the dream pods?" "No, I've done it before. Not a fan," I say. I don't mention how my one experience was in a Black Alley arcade in Tokyo 6, where a slimy stranger climbed into my pod during my session claiming to do maintenance. The stuff they got here is gold standard. Nothing like the crap you find in some of these old VR towns. It'll change your opinion in a heartbeat. He waves his gold card at me. "And this is our ticket in." I don't ask how he got his gold card because I don't want him asking how I got mine. Are there 2 mask buddies gagged and stuffed somewhere on the train? I wonder what they're dreaming of now. The man opens the door to the confessional. "What are you doing?" I ask. The man switches on his live fit camera again. "Research," he says, grinning. "Welcome to Unit 1, the automated voice says as I climb into the cushioned chair inside. "I set up mine up for 30 minutes, the man says from the neighboring pod. "There's an auto-cleaning service if you piss your pants." "If I what?" "See you on the other side." He gives me a salute and the lid slides back over his pod. "See you on the other side." I press the pause button on my panel as soon as the pod lid closes and shrouds me in darkness. I sit back, trying to relax. It's not so different from the cheapest airplane seats, like a cozy coffin. I count up to 300, more than enough time for the man's pod to properly start up, so I can ditch him while he's frolicking around in dreamland. 29, 30, 31... In the dark, your brain can play tricks on you. Time moves differently. Your mind the only spotlight, illuminating anything it wants. I see my mother cooking an impossibly large turkey leg that looks more like the size of a human thigh. Red birds sit in a line of spiked fences, a row of teeth grinning in the stormy sky above them. 298, 299, 300. I remind myself to breathe, but the air doesn't come. I slap my hand against the emergency dispatch button on the pod. The lid pops open like an air bubble on the surface of a lake. A wrinkled face hovers over me, its sunken eyes staring down at me like the eye holes of a skull. I stifle a scream as a liver-spotted hand reaches in like death himself. Then I see the grumpy cat sweater, the nest of grey-brown hair. "I was looking all over for you," the old lady says with a smile. "Did you bring your camera?" "Yeah, I've got it on me." I step out and glance around, still feeling disoriented from the pod. I half expect the man to pop out of his dream pod like a jack-in-the-box and point his live stream camera at us like the surveillance drones. "How did you get in here?" "It wasn't so hard, just like coming home," she says. She hasn't stopped smiling since I opened the lid of my dream pod. "Shall we get started?" she asks, motioning vaguely to the body cam on my shirt. I wait for her to explain, but she just watches me in silence, a flash of irritation when I put my pest mask back on first. "There's no need for that," she says. "They don't survey any of the rooms in the temple. You could vanish in here and no one would know where to look." I switched the body camera on, knowing there was no outside connection, but still feeling better with another pair of digital eyes watching. Turning on the image stabilizer, I start walking around the confessional, getting close up the dream pods and the small table next to each one with locked drawers, the blood-red walls with symbols I don't understand. When I turn back around, the old woman is so close I can clearly see the brown liver spots on her forehead and cheeks, the sagging skin on her neck. "A nice video of the temple fetches a high price, doesn't it?" she says, glancing down at the camera clipped to the middle tortoiseshell button of my denim shirt, as if watching an insect crawl up. "But those are just normal top 50 rankings, right? Darknet rankings are more thrilling. Do you know how much they pay for a very specific type of video inside the temple?" she asked, her tongue pressing against her upper lip, snail-like. "With a useless husband like mine, I could use a couple of extra longevity credits myself. I don't suppose I could ask you to help an old woman out?" My first job at Face Compendium was to write a freebie manual on travel safety that was bundled with our annual ranking of top 100 places to visit. Tip 1. Avoid overly friendly children and old people. They are often used as a front to lower your guard. The old woman tears the camera clean off my button, with the blade that's materialized in her hand. It's the same one the KAOSU security staff had at immigration, the one that my boss said can cut straight through metal. The old woman steps forward and raises the camera until it's almost aligned with my eyes. I don't move. I don't even blink. I become one of those stone statues outside in the pseudo-cafe from hell. "Come now, hasn't anyone taught you about the importance of good showmanship?" The old woman frowns, poking the tip of her blade into the collar of my shirt. Even the slight jab breaks through the denim and pierces the skin underneath. I wince, and she nods like a jazz connoisseur hearing the start of her favorite piano solo. Tip number 2. If you find yourself in a dangerous situation, play dead. Physically, but mentally, will work out in some cases, until the opportunity for escape presents itself. The dream pod behind her pops open, the man yawning loudly. The sound distracts the old woman just long enough for me to slap the blade out of her hand. It clicks off the ground, metal sparking against the tiles. Like a bulldozer running on pure adrenaline, I shove her into one of the other pods. "Hey, what's going?" The man stands, mouth gaping, magnificently useless. The old woman regains her food and kicks me to the floor. She scrambles for the blade, curls of white hair sticking to her splotchy forehead. Something digs into my leg as I try to stand. The pepper spray from my mother. I pull it from my pocket just in time for the old woman to slice into the aerosol can, the gleaming tip barely missing my left eye. Tip number 3. Anything can be a weapon if you want it to be. As she tries to pull the blade out of the can, I tear off my mask and jam the sharp beak of the best mask into her right eye. She screams. I scream too, falling back, horrified at what I've done. The man, by some miracle moment of lucidity, lifts the old woman, bleeding and howling, and tosses her into the seat of his open dream pod. She swings at him, spitting things I don't understand. "You're a liar, you're a thief, you're disgusting, I knew it, I should have left you to die." He pulls the pest mask out of her face, blood splattering onto his hands, and slams down the lid of the dream pod. A 30 lights up on the lid before a fluorescent red, occupied, takes its place. I stare at the pulsing word, feeling my heartbeat in my throat. Would the old woman make it through the 30 minutes? 30 minutes isn't very long, but sometimes it's more than enough time for a whole life to pass by. I glance over at the man. His camera's on button is glowing green. The train is still at the station when we arrive back at the gate. "Done already?" the owl-masked woman says, studying us behind the eye holes of her mask, a sheen of water droplets covering her vinyl dress. "We have to get back for the influencer party," I answer. She nods, convinced, or not wanting to be bothered. "Do you think we'll be okay?" the Foss masked man asks as we get back on the train. He's still shaken. I don't blame him. "We have our videos," I tell him. "That's what matters. Go buy that girl you like a nice dinner with the money." "Yeah, you're right," he says, but he's not really hearing me. I wonder if his mind is still in that yellow hole, still running. The train lets out a gush of gas and steam as the engine starts up again, the door closing. The floor rumbles and the train starts to pull out of the station as we make our way through the cars. From the window I watch as the temple, that blue tower, slowly becomes just a vertical gash on the white horizon. As I unlock the door to my cabin with my ID card, my heart thrumps when the man stops in front of the old woman's cabin. "Wow, didn't know we were neighbors all this time," he says. I watch his hand fidget over the livestream camera on his shirt until he finds the ID card in his breast pocket. "Welcome back, sweetie," a familiar girlish virtual voice says from the camera. "It's done. She's finally gone," he says, unlocking the door, and grins. I don't say anything in return as he enters the cabin and closes the door behind him. Out the window, in the distance, I see the billows of smoke from the terminal station. But before that, the blinding aurora of lights.
When this story first came through the slush pile, a lot of readers immediately thought of Snowpiercer. It's not just the setting of a train or other vehicle, of course, though there are other good examples of those, the Mortal Engine series or Mieville's Iron Council. But what the train or vehicle as city represents, a closed system exploration of the state. I'm a big fan of Ian M. Banks's Fearsome Engine and the bridge for this, and for a fantasy version, I'll always go back to Gormenghast. In these closed systems, the individual is often in immediate conflict, either with the setting's rules or its social hierarchies. This story gives us a two-tier system of residents and passengers, masks and jumpsuits, and a have versus have-not battle for love and longevity. It's a world where long, bright futures are bought by the wealthy, while everyone else ekes through on second-hand voyeurism. The story also does more than hint at the dark underbelly of the ennui of the rich. By the end of this piece, our protagonist has perhaps got what she needs to give her mother a little more time, but she is also very much fueling the same system that keeps her in her place. Join us again soon. We love bringing you the best audio fiction week after week, but we can't do it without your support. Your donations pay our authors, our narrators, our servers and our staff. Please consider supporting us with a monthly donation through either PayPal or Patreon. You can also review us on Apple Podcasts, request us on Spotify, and consider the stories we publish for award consideration. There are lots of ways you can help. You can join the discussion on the EA Discord and visit us on Blue Sky at castofwonders.org. Come say hello. Cast of Wonders is brought to you by editor Catherine Inskip, assistant editor Alicia Caparaso, associate editors Rebecca Arn, Tanya Adelit, Amy Brennan, Cuppa Cobb, Becca Miles, Ray O, Samuel Poots, Emma Smales, Denise Sudell and Rin Yi. Our editorial assistant is Amy Brennan and our audio producer is Jeremy Carter. Cast of Wonders is part of the Escape Artists Foundation, a 501c3 non-profit, and this episode is distributed under the Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License. That means you can download or listen to the episode on any device you like, but you can't change it or sell it. Our theme music is Appeal to Heavens by Alexei Nov, available from Promo DJ or his Facebook page. Thank you for listening.